Hello everyone, friends. Thank you for visiting Bitcoin Adept. Today we will talk about the price of Bitcoin and our favorite, albeit reddened, altcoins. As you know, yesterday Donald Trump hinted again about creating a reserve in Bitcoin on air in some altcoins. And this is not the first time he has hinted, although no decree or decision has been adopted. But yesterday we saw such a pump in Bitcoin upwards with this very candle. Everyone said it was because Donald Trump announced the reserves, but today there is silence. Nothing is happening, nothing happened, and everything went down. Most likely news will come out now that Donald Trump simply remained silent today and Bitcoin returned back. This, guys, is, by the way, about fake news that is fed to us after some movement has happened or before a movement. They tie in a certain event, but in such local moments, they just shave people up and down who enter with high leverage, specifically on futures. And also, I assume that they are dumping altcoins for some of their own purposes. And if we switch to a more global view of the market, to the weekly chart, this is our bottom. For Bitcoin, this is actually the previous cycle. And this part here is our bull market. Right here, we are currently in an uptrend for Bitcoin. And in my opinion, right now, there is a certain third subcycle. And now I will show you again my thoughts on where it might end. Look. It was given right here for Bitcoin, after which the overall upward movement correction. Right here, let's even outline it more clearly from below. There was an upward movement. Moreover, before we reached these maximum local values, we stayed in the middle zone here for quite a long time. There was a downward correction, a kind of squeeze, after which the growth began. In short, this is the first part of our, you could say, bull market. That is, we corrected and then continued upwards. Again, we stopped here. There was some fluctuation, a correction and an upward movement. Afterwards, we fell down, then went on to conquer the next peaks. So you understand, right? Here we had a pause before moving upwards. Here, there was a pause before moving upwards. Then we have a correction. And after that, the movements go higher. And let's look at the maximum values. Let's first stop here. This is what we call the 5 Elliott waves. Even if you look at the theoretical part, you all know them, right? The first wave is followed by, we have a corrective wave, then the next wave is the third, followed by the fourth corrective wave, and the fifth final wave is again impulsive growth, after which we have a equal bear market consisting of 3 waves. And this growth, it very often does not occur in just one, not with just one candle, not with one stick, but also with pauses. With 1, 2, or 3 pauses. And in our case, on our chart, our pauses looked like this. That is, the first correction was before moving upwards. The second correction, it was larger, you see. It was already longer, and the range here is completely different. And after this fourth wave, our fifth wave began. And in my opinion, we are now in the same kind of intermediate correction as we were here. And before this, and why I believe this is the third substage, you could say, look, I noticed something, that this initial part, this initial movement, and the correction from this movement, this is something separate and not complete, in the form of a figure, an intermediate one. And it turns out that from the bottom we came to the low of this correction. Well, approximately how long has it been? 329. Well, if up to the first green candle, 336 days, after which the next sub-phase began. A similar growth? Well, obviously stronger correction. This, I believe, is already the next sub-phase. That is, we look from this one, this candle, of the initial growth. 300, how many? 336 days, 329. Well, 329 days, we almost reached the end of this sub-phase, of this correction. And quite likely, if we add another 329 days or 336, it's just a weekly chart. Each candle is a weekly candle. And here, plus or minus 1 division, it's immediately 7 days. In short, look, if we take and measure another 329 for this third subcycle, days, let it be, then we come to the beginning of August. This year, when we are already unloading and when we are about to enter a bear market. So it turns out to be 329 days, 3 in 29 and another 329. That's 990 days, but let's take 1,000 days as a reference. Let's see how long the bull cycle lasted in previous Bitcoin cycles, as it's no secret to anyone that here we had the maximum values. Here was the minimum for Bitcoin, then again the maximum at $69,000. So, if we estimate from the bottom of the bear cycle for Bitcoin to its maximum values, we see here that 10-15 days passed from the lowest prices to the maximum, and then the bear market started, the movement went down, and the same thing. Most likely, if we look at the previous cycle, there will probably be a similar pattern. This is the previous maximum value. Here we had a bottom, formed by these two squeezes, but the main bottom was located right here. Yes. Let's take the middle, purely from the middle, estimate to the maximum values, and we get how many? 966 days. Also very close. Moreover, you know that using various technical tools, I arrived at the Bitcoin price in the area. There, $180,000 even, up to $200,000 in this cycle. And here, the benchmarks for further upward movement, a possible upward movement, are these intermediate parts. When Bitcoin initially went here, into this zone of the first subcycle, as I call it, that is, if we go from the bottom, from here to the top. We stretch the segment here to the maximum values and move it. Then we approximately hit these local upper values where it arrived. Similarly, further from here, from the minimum values to the initial stop, that is, we move this value and also hit this upper third point. And if we, guys, these are benchmarks, it's clear now. Someone might say, look, the price is slightly off, but we need benchmarks plus or minus, let's say 5%. Again, we move it. This value from bottom to top, and we hit $175,000 to $177,000 per Bitcoin. Could this be possible? Who knows, guys? Then this fifth wave comes up for us. And only at these values does the unloading of Bitcoin begin and the further move downwards. Now, let's connect my signal indicators and see what signals they give on this time frame. Let's look at the weekly first. Well, on the weekly, everything seems to be fine. This is the indicator, the signal, Ichimoku Cloud Adept. Many strong signals upwards, but we have a weak signal downwards, so the overall signal indicates consolidation. If we connect the daily chart, most likely the picture here will not be as rosy since the price is already under this cloud. Let me erase the excess. I'll turn off this indicator so it's more visible. Here there are more signals, neutral with hints of a slight further downward move. And if you look at the 8-hour chart, it will likely be even more dismal. The situation, specifically here, downward signals have long prevailed. Let's look at another of my signal indicators. I won't show them all. For those interested, just go to the video description, install them all absolutely free, and whether on your phone or computer, use it. Moreover, in the free version of this TradingView program, let's look at the Golden Grail indicator. It shows signals with confirmations here, but currently we have no signals. And in conclusion, let's Bitcoin. Adept buy and sell on the 8-hour chart. And here we had a buy signal from below, even before some of Donald Trump's latest statements on February 28th. The price went up. Currently, there is no signal. And let's switch to the 3-day time frame. Let's switch and see what signals are more global here, because 4-hour and 8-hour are still local signals. There are a lot of different manipulations, but on the 3-day chart, you see, yes, but the signals, sales, are clear. That has already become part of history. Currently, there are no signals. And I hope that when a buy signal appears, we might form some kind of reversal zone here. In any case, this indicator has more than 12 strategies built into it. It can track the market and make some suggestions based on them. Under no circumstances should you trade purely based on these signals. But as a confirmation of your thoughts, it's quite good. And that's all. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want to hear my thoughts on the price of Bitcoin and altcoins. Also, install all my signal indicators. This is absolutely free for you. And also, if you're too lazy to analyze the market using indicators or technical tools, then join our private trading chats. This is also free. The video description explains how to do this. Thank you to everyone who watched this video to the end. Goodbye, everyone.